Dr. J here from the She Protects YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about the scenario of you're home alone, somebody comes to the door that's a stranger that you're not expecting. Is it a trap? How do you know? What do you do about it? So if this is something that interests you, stick around because we're going to get into it. Okay, so you're home alone and a stranger comes to the door that you're not expecting. So let's talk options, and really I have three in mind. One, you just stay silent. You don't say anything. So they're saying hello, they're ringing the doorbell, they're knocking, they're doing whatever it is they're doing. And through the entire encounter, you're silent. And frankly, you're hoping that they just go away. If they have something to deliver, they drop the package, they go away. Option two, you can choose to engage with them with the door closed. So you're talking to them with the door closed. And of course, you don't want to be anywhere near the door. You want to be far away from the door you're talking from, let's say across the room. Option three, you actually open the door, which I do not recommend that you do, but it is an option. So what are we worried about here? Well, it's the trap. We don't want to fall into the trap. We don't know. Is this person's intentions good? Are they upstanding? Or are they a criminal and have bad intent and want to break into our house, rob us, attack us, and so forth? There are a lot of people that will impersonate themselves to be something that they are not. There's examples would be a delivery person, maintenance guy, utility worker, policeman, somebody of authority, kids that are saying that they want to sell candy for their basketball game, somebody who's claiming that they're hurt or having an emergency and need help with that, or even people who are acting as if they're of a religious affiliation, let's say Jehovah's Witness or one of the other religions. And all of these can be very upstanding things in our day-to-day lives, but they can also be criminals that are posing as something that they're not, that could do bad things to us. And that's why I suggest you don't open the door. So if something is going to go down, it's going to go down quickly. In a previous video of mine, I had talked about one of the things that was important to have around your home is a camera system and a security system. For this discussion today, obviously it's the external camera system that would be invaluable to you. So if you have a camera system and you can see, is it one guy or are there more people involved? What do they look like? Do they have masks on? Are they regularly faced? Do you see them holding anything? Can you see any weapons of any kind? A knife, a gun, things like that. So we're going to go through some of the scenarios and we can talk about how things go down, what to consider a red flag, and what to do about it. Let's start with a delivery man scenario. So let's say you have somebody who is knocking on your door, ringing your doorbell, saying delivery, right? Now, right off the bat, I just know with UPS, FedEx workers, GLS, these guys and gals work really hard. They're on really tight schedules. And oftentimes it'll be a quick knock on the door or a single doorbell ring and they drop the package and they're out of there. Oftentimes they are not trying to engage with you. So right off the bat, if you have somebody who's yelling out that they have a delivery, to me, that is actually a red flag. So remember our options of we can just stay silent or you can choose to engage. I personally really just prefer to stay silent, and that has worked for me throughout my life so far, knock on everything, right? But let's say you do, just for discussion so we can play out some of these scenarios. Let's say you do, with the delivery man, say, who is it? And the guy says, delivery. And you say, just leave it at the door, please. And he says, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, but this is something that needs to be signed for. Now, what needs to be signed for? Something like medications, or let's say you're having something valuable that is being shipped to your house. But these are things that you are going to know about, right? So even if somebody is saying, if it's something that you're expecting, that's one thing. But we're talking about the scenario of you are not expecting this package. So in this scenario, I might say, I'm sorry, it's just not a good time. I cannot sign for it. Please leave it at your distribution center, the local distribution center. And then the ball's back in his court. You see what he does. And you go from there. If anything starts to escalate or get hostile, obviously that's a red flag. I say don't get anywhere near the door, because somebody can kick your door down in 0.2 seconds and be right there grabbing you. So I would have in the scenario, if you start seeing any of the red flags, I would, have your phone in hand, because you can start the call to 911 if you need to. Obviously, if you are armed, which I am, I have learned about firearms, then, you're ready with that. But I'm not opening that door for a delivery person, even if they're saying they need a signature, when it's something that is unexpected. So that's the delivery guy. Let's say it's a maintenance worker that comes to your door and is saying, oh, I'm here to change out a vent of some sort, and you're not expecting it. In my opinion, if this is the choose to engage scenario, so you're engaging with them through the door, and you're far away from the door, you could say, well, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting you. It's not a good time. Let's schedule for another time. See what their response is. You might ask for their name. Can I get your name? And I will call the office, and we can have you come back at another time. See what they do with that. Because they're probably not going to, if they do have bad intentions, they're not going to be wanting to give out a real name. But whatever name that they give you, you're going to be verifying that with the office and finding out, A, are you going around and replacing vents? And B, do you have anybody named Sean who works for you? That kind of thing. So you're essentially asking them to authorize themselves. Another scenario, let's take the kids with the candy who are coming and saying, can you support our basketball team? Well, you can say, hey guys, I'd love to support you. It's just not a good time. What school are you with? What's your team's name? Let me have your coach's name, and I'll call him, and I'll make you guys a good size donation, and see how they respond to that. So obviously, if your door starts getting kicked in, you're going to know the answer that they're not upstanding. But if they accept that and they go away, well, then you've helped the kids' basketball team, and you know your answer that, they were who they said that they were. Let's talk about the scenario with a police officer. So a police officer shows up at my door. In that instance, I'm going to ask the officer for their name and their badge number, and that I just want to verify that they are who they say they are. And police officers see everything. They know what goes down out there. If anything, I'm thinking they're going to be grateful and thinking I'm wise that I'm verifying the information. So that's the police officer. What about the religious worker? Well, I'll give you an example. There was a documentary. This happened to a woman in this documentary of, she had a man who passed by. She wasn't in her house. She was actually on her driveway. And he passed by, stopped his car, and started to approach her on the driveway saying, hey, can I just give you a pamphlet? Just a pamphlet. And unfortunately, she let him get close enough to where he could reach out and hand her the pamphlet, and in one hand he hands her the pamphlet, and in the other hand he takes out a gun. She was actually abducted, and she lived to tell about it, which is why the documentary was made, thankfully. But I think that the point is made that, let's say somebody's coming to your door saying that they want to hand you a pamphlet, religious pamphlet. You could just have them leave that on the doorstep and say that you'll read it later and thank them for coming. But you don't have to actually open the door. Okay, the final scenario I want to talk about, I think, is the most difficult because it's kind of the bleeding heart. And that is, what do you do if somebody is coming to your door claiming they're having an emergency of some sort? This, you're really just going to have to use your instincts, and every scenario, like I said, is unique. You'll just really have to judge and maneuver as you go along. But I do want to give you an example of somebody who did do an impersonation, and it was somebody that came to a person's door claiming they were having a heart attack. In reality, the person opened the door and the person was not having a heart attack. They were just fine, and they got that person that opened the door was attacked and robbed. So let's role play here and say, well, what could you do if you don't want to open the door? You could, for example, say to the person, okay, I'm calling 911. Hold on a moment, right? And actually call 911, because what if it is somebody who needs something? You want to make sure that you can help them, right? So call 911, and then you can get back to them through the door again. You're talking, and you can say, 911 is on their way. I've given them this address. What is your name? What is your phone number, so that I can give them that information? They're asking for it. And again, you're going to see, how does this person respond? If it's somebody who is a criminal, they're probably out of there, but you just don't know. So that would be one way that you could handle that kind of scenario. So those are some ideas on what you can do if you are home alone and an unexpected visitor arrives at your door, and some of the things that you may see if it is a criminal who's trying to impersonate somebody. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. It will help me know what kind of content to continue to produce for you going forward. And as always, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch the video, and we hope to see you in the next one.